There are three very critical things that I wish I had known before buying the MAPS 15 Minutes program. But even knowing those, I still would have bought the program, and let me tell you why. Now, my wife and I have actually run MAPS 15 Minutes and the advanced version as well. And for the most part, we have found both of these programs to be super helpful and really perfectly crafted for someone with very little time to work out, someone who's, life is constantly changing. I was a little hesitant at first, just going down to 15 minutes a day, but it feels so good to be able to get up, get in, get it done, and then be done with your workout for the rest of the day and actually feel accomplished and also feel like you really trained hard as well. Because most of the workouts are built around 2 to 3 exercises, and to be able to go into your workout knowing you only have 2 to 3 exercises to do and you can just do them hard and well and focus on those it's a really good feeling instead of that, that daunting feeling when you have a really long workout ahead of you. And especially for my wife and I with kids, we're working out from home, there's always interruptions. But the 15-minute workouts make it super manageable because we can get it done really quickly. And for the most part, they are all about 15 minutes. But that actually brings up the first thing that I have a problem with. Okay, it's not really a problem. It's one of my pet peeves when people sell a program that tells me it's going to take a certain amount of time and it doesn't. I don't know. It's probably just because I have kids and life's chaotic, so it's like I have an expectation. I want it to fill that expectation. So again, most of the workouts all take right about 15 minutes, and the advanced program takes right about 20 minutes. But there are some that do go over that and don't fit within that 15-minute time frame. And there's actually a couple of the workouts in the MAPS 15 advanced program that took us up to 30 minutes. And again, it's not a huge deal, but it's for me, when I have this expectation, I do want to see that all of the workouts actually meet that requirement. Because that is the title of the program. So when you're trying to find a workout program, usually we tend to look for things that we think we're gonna enjoy or that just feel good to actually do. And for me as a dad who's just looking to be jacked and lean, I wanna be able to enjoy the program that I'm running. So the amazing thing is that for 80% of this program, I loved the workouts. I loved what I was doing. It felt good and I felt accomplished and I was able to train hard. And even better than that is obviously, like I've already mentioned, the time frame, the fact that I can get it done quickly. And I really feel like I can maximize the 2 to 3 or 4 sets because I'm really focused on just those 2 or 3 exercises. And one of the other things is that quite a few of the workouts do actually have 4 to 5 sets, which in a longer workout for me feels daunting, but when I've only got 2 to 3 movements, it actually helps you to get into, the groove, so to speak. You really get primed and your body's moving well in that movement pattern and allows you to really get the most out of those sets in that particular exercise. And that's the thing, is a lot of people think you need massive complexity, but you really don't. The compound basic movements are going to get you 80 to 90% of the results of your body transformation. But of course, with that said, some of the sets were annoying. And I feel so petty even just saying it that, but really, it didn't flow well for me with the workout. And again, I trust the Mind Pump guys with how they lay out this program, but I'm also looking at this as, again, what do I enjoy? What feels good? And for example, one of the workouts called for full lever sit-ups, which the full lever sit-up, if you've never done it before, phenomenal exercise. Love the exercise. However, they call at one point in the program for a 5-minute set. Now, I don't know about you, but the research that I've learned from all the experts is pretty clear over and over again that abs don't need to be trained any differently than do any other body part. We can essentially train it the same. But let's put that aside because the Mind Pump guys know what they're doing. So there's obviously something novel and helpful about doing it this way and in this manner. But here's what I find. I just don't prefer it. I don't enjoy trying to crank out a 5-minute set because guaranteed when you're doing 5 minutes of crunches or rather full lever sit-ups, you're not going to be going the full 5 minutes. So you're going to be you're going to get to the point where you fail, you have to stop and take a rest, and then you try to pound out a few more, and then you'll stop and rest, you got to pound out a few more. And for me, I don't find that it helps me to maximize the volume that I can get for working my abs. And now even more so on top of that, one of the workouts actually begins with this full lever sit-up movement, which again, it's great movement. But when you're doing that, it's more of an isolation exercise, really focused on your core. And again, I trust Mind Pump with the way they've set this up, but I don't find it, for me, particularly beneficial to start with an isolation move and really like tax my abs, and then go on to 2 compound full body movements that are going to involve my core. So I'd rather flip it around. But again, with that said, it might not be an issue for you. You actually might enjoy it. Now also, when you've already got a workout like this, you know, that's all around a really well put together program and enjoyable, it just takes it through the roof when you really love and enjoy all of the exercises in the program as well. And really, most of these exercises I absolutely loved, and I loved the way that they were paired. And now as a side note, not that you have to enjoy every single exercise that you're doing, but it's helpful when you do, because that helps you to be more consistent with the program. And as we all know, consistency is actually what's going to get you the body transformation. And now for the most part, I really loved how they paired the different exercises. They felt good. And I know with the experience that they have training and programming, I knew it was going to be effective. But with that said though, there were a few things that just for me did not work really well. So firstly, it's that the program is actually built around using a suspension trainer, at least for one of the phases. And now here's the thing, is that if you have dumbbells and a suspension trainer, I mean, you can run this completely from home. You don't need to worry about it at all. And if you ideally have a barbell and a rack, then you can run the MAPS 15 advanced portion. But honestly, even with the advanced programming, you could still technically run that if you only had dumbbells. It would just be a little bit more difficult because it requires some really heavy loads with lower rep ranges. So you might have a hard time getting that depending on how heavy your dumbbells are. But ultimately, it can all be done from home, which for me is exactly what I'm looking for. But back to the whole idea of a suspension trainer, that's what I didn't have. And I didn't even know that this program required a suspension trainer. Now, I'll put that one on me because I listen to their podcasts and I guarantee they've talked about this before and I just didn't happen to catch it. But what I did end up using is the resistance bands that I have. And what I did is I doubled and tripled up the resistance bands so that they were basically immovable. And then I was essentially doing the same movements as using a suspension trainer because it was mostly just body weight at that point. And now for me, I personally just really didn't enjoy it. Now that is not to say that you shouldn't be doing it, because there's certainly a ton of value in doing phasings and even like small chunks of training like this where you might not enjoy it, but you're gonna get some stimulus and adaptation that you wouldn't have if you hadn't done something that you didn't enjoy. But what I did find for me in particular is that it made it more difficult to actually maximize the sets that I was doing, especially when I'm doing it with mostly body weight, trying to get into the rep ranges that they're asking for and being close enough to failure. And that's really where we're gonna be triggering that muscle growth. But in addition to that, one of the other aspects of the program that I wasn't super crazy about was that some of the workouts called for pairing of exercises that I felt for me individually just didn't allow me to actually maximize the exercises that I was doing. So for example, one of the workouts calls for a bunch, So for example, one of the workouts actually calls for a bench press followed by a shoulder press. Now for me, after 4 sets of bench press, my front delts are going to be fatigued, especially if I'm taking that bench press sufficiently close to failure. But then to follow it up with a shoulder press, now granted it's a slightly different movement, you're engaging other aspects of your deltoid with an overhead press. Because my front delts were so taxed already, I just didn't feel like I could actually get the full benefit out of the shoulder presses. Because for me, I just really enjoy doing fully antagonistic body parts. So if I'm doing a press movement, then I want to be doing like a pulling movement or a leg movement. I enjoy that. It allows me to really focus on maximizing each of those exercises because the other one is resting while I'm doing the second movement. But here's the thing, is that some people might argue that this actually helps you to get better gains when you're pairing the two together, because you're essentially priming those shoulders really well by doing a bench press, and now you're going to a slightly different movement while you're still working the anterior delts. And they would argue probably that you could get more benefit out of doing that. And in particular, when you've got such a short workout, you want to be able to maximize those sets by being warmed up and primed and ready to really put your max effort into the sets. Okay, but the crazy thing is that here, with all that I'm saying, it probably sounds like I totally dislike the program, but I still bought it because I want to actually tell you what happened with my strength. So most people are going to look at a program like this and just think it's way too little volume, but you will be shocked because I actually tracked all of my lifts and did quite a few calculations and was able to see that on average, my increase in volume was somewhere between 15 to 25% within one phase. So the phases run about 3 weeks. So within those 3 weeks, I was able to increase that much, and increasing your volume is increasing your strength and therefore increasing your muscle. And what's even more mind-blowing is that most of the time that I was running this program, I was actually dieting. And now I've been training long enough that when I'm dieting and I'm lifting, I should, if I'm doing good if I'm maintaining my lifts. But in this case, I actually increase them. Now this truly answers, without a doubt in my mind, that less is more, which is what I've been preaching for years now. Now that alone should lock you into picking up this program, but for me and my wife, it was also super manageable, super sustainable, really easy to get done each day, which made it enjoyable and really easy to stick to. And now I'm not affiliated at all with them. I just really love the Mind Pump guys. So I would definitely recommend picking up MAPS 15. But if you aren't sure that this program's actually gonna get you the results that you want, or maybe it just doesn't seem right for you, but you still love Mind Pump, you could start building some crazy muscle with over 100-year-old circus performer exercises with the most unique program that I've ever run right up over here. And as always, go get strong, but first just go give your kids a hug because I think that family matters more, and I'll see you over there on the next video.